So I want to talk about disappointment. I did not want to do this video until I had chapter 7 done, and I was going to be like, starting writing updates, and chapter by chapter I'll be letting you guys know how I'm doing on my book and, how it's progressing. But I had that idea a month ago and chapter 7 is still not done. And today I'm coming off of 24 hours of some pretty back-to-back disappointments. The first being a professional opportunity that just did not work out. The second being I spilled tea on my laptop and killed it. Can't even get into it anymore. And then the third being that it's the end of the month and I haven't finished chapter 7, which means that I'm 2 or 3 or 4 months behind, my writing timeline. I wanted to have my second draft of my book done by January 1st, and it's like November tomorrow. And I'm still in chapter 7 out of like 35 chapters. So I want to talk about like writing through disappointment, because this feels like one of those moments where I could very easily give up on everything. But specifically, we're going to talk about writing, right? So like when things go wrong in your life, obviously that takes a lot of brain space, and you have to process a lot, and you should take your time. But then when something goes wrong in your life, plus the tool that you use to write every day dies and is, no longer functional, that can also feel like kind of a sign of like, hey, you should just hang it up. You should just hang it up. On top of it's not really writer's block that's been happening, it's just that I've been so busy that I haven't really gotten to sit down. So I have been writing my 1 word a day, and sometimes I write a little bit more than that. I think this month I probably averaged like 100 to 200 words every single day towards the book. So chapter 7 is in progress and it's definitely going. The part 1 of chapter 7 is done and I'm on part 2 of chapter 7 right now. But because I haven't gotten to really sit down with the book for, 2 or 3 hours, chapter 7 feels like it's in this limbo that I just can't get past. It can be very easy, I think, right now to take, my first instinct might be to be like, I can't do it anymore. But I'm not going to do that because this book is still important to me and I still have to write. So how can we write through the disappointment? So the first thing that I kind of do when things like this happen is that I take kind of like a 24 hours to be my sad girl self. And I'm very sad right now, and I'm very disappointed in myself and in my choices and how they're not working out and all of that. The thing with the laptop was just a stupid mistake. Literally left a cup of tea, and it was like a thermos of tea in my bag, and I thought there wasn't much tea in it. When I was driving, my bag flipped over, and I don't know how the tea didn't run out of the bag, but it ran into the bag and just ruined the bottom of some of my files, and also got into the trackpad. So, I thought maybe the trackpad can be fixed, and it cannot be. It's not even turning on. So, I'm just feeling my emotions today. I'm just sitting with it. It's not easy. It's not what I wanted to happen. It's not the way that I wanted to kind of end out this month, but it is what it is. So, the second thing that I think I'm really trying to process right now is being grateful despite, the hardships. Everything, I really believe, happens for a reason. It's to teach you something or to get you ahead or whatever. And number 1, I learned not to put cups in my bags. Number 2, I've learned something from the opportunity that I lost, and it may come back around, but, I learned something from the opportunity that I chased, and didn't successfully grab. And number 3, I am grateful for the fact that I still have an iPad and I still have a phone that I can use and that I can write with. So technically, even though my laptop is gone, I did not lose anything, not even like my personal files and business files and things like that. Those are still there and they're still accessible. So, I'm grateful for that lesson that I learned. I had also had a previous laptop that like died in the middle of one of my school exams. And I learned quickly from that, like nothing can exist on this laptop. If the hardware goes, everything still has to be there. So I'm grateful today for the fact that I have other options. So even though I am not on track and this update is little more than just me being upset. You know, the next step is, what am I going to do about it? And I think the answer is, I will have to figure it out on my iPad like I did before. I will continue to write on my phone like I did before. And I'm going to really take November. I don't know that I'm going to do NaNoWriMo in particular. And for anybody who doesn't know, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It's the whole month of November. You know, it's a challenge to writers to write a novel within the month, writing at about 2,000 words a day to get to 50,000 words by the end of the month. I don't think that I'm going to do that because I think my during the week is really busy. I won't be able to get to 2,000 words a day. But I'm going to reclaim my weekends for this book, because it's not just a little hobby that I have on the side. It's not just something that I have fun doing, you know, whenever the time comes up. This is something that I really want to get done. I have a schedule. I have expectations, and even though they are expectations that I have set, they're still important to me and they still have to be met. I do really well also when I harness anger. And so I'm going to harness that anger a little bit. You know, some of the feedback that I got with this opportunity that didn't work out is that they were afraid that I wouldn't be dedicated to, you know, to that opportunity, to that job. And I know now that that's not a reflection on me. I think a year ago I would have been like, oh my God, like what am I exuding? What am I showing? Like, how can I beg and get them to understand? I realize now that I can't make anyone understand my work ethic. They have to see it. I can't make anyone understand how dedicated I'm going to be to something. They have to see that I am dedicated, period. And if they don't see that, they don't see that. But I know that I am, right? So I know that I'm dedicated to this book, so it's time to be dedicated to this book and getting it done and doing these updates, which will hold me accountable, but also help me track my progress. And I'm dedicated also to my businesses. It's time to be even more dedicated to them. You know, like, I can't prove it to them, but I can prove it to myself. The fact that I've been working on this book since I was 12 and finished a first draft while I was working shows that I am dedicated. I am dedicated to the things I want to be dedicated to. And this is something that I want. So I'm going to make this happen. But anyways, logistically, how do I make that happen? Number one, reclaiming my weekends, because that's the time that I know that I do really well writing. Number two, I need to get up. I have been waking up pretty late, and the reality is that in order for me to have a full productive day with my business work, I need to be working and moving by like 9, 10 a.m. Need to be doing that because I don't like working in the afternoon, and that's been messing up my sleep schedule. But that means that in order to write every single day with enough writing time that I can really progress forward in the way that I need to, means that I need to be up at 5, maybe even a little bit earlier, like 4:30, so that I can get up, stretch, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, get some tea, sit back down, and actually write. And spend those 15 minutes, you know, when your brain is kind of floating and you're not like in your book yet, you need that time. That is also part of your writing time. So I need the time to be able to do that, to then get into my book, to then write the whole story for that day. So yeah, it's my fault that I haven't been able to write in the timeline that I've wanted to write in. But there's plenty of time for me to fix that. So feeling my sad girl feelings today, being grateful because there are other means for me to keep pushing forward, and maybe the little bit of a challenge will kind of give me the kick in the ass that I need. And 3, harnessing my emotions and harnessing that little bit of fire in me that's like, no, I know that I can do this. I know that I can do anything that I say that I'm going to do. So, but that starts with changing my habits and being serious about changing my habits, because I can sit here all I want and say that I want to do things, and if I don't actually do it, then these writing updates are going to sound a lot like this every week. But anyways, I'm putting out these writing updates now. I'm not waiting anymore because this is the reality of this project so far. So the goal is by the new year, my second draft will be done. maybe I'll see you there. So maybe I'll see you there.